So welcome back. So to get going to to get the code to where I'm at right now, you need to do a git checkout here, version 0.2.02. Notice that it's 02 now, not just 1 or 2. Yeah, well, I figured out that I made my versions too small, so I had to keep adding to them. So this is what you need to do from now on. Git checkout version 0.2.02. So what do we want to do this lesson? Well, we already figured this out, that we wanted to send a link like this, and then I want to add a footer and a header to this page. And how do you do that? Well, it's really simple. When you do the checkout, you won't have all of this. Let me show you what you actually have here. You actually have this. So let me just save that and show you what's that all about. Well, it'll show something like this. This is the weak view, nothing else. Now, to get the footer and the header in there, you'll pretty much just add a footer at the top and a header at the bottom. So let's just try that first. Now, this is the way that we can reuse components. So when I save this now and I go back, now you'll see a header, an Navbar, and a footer. Okay, so that's all it took for me to add these two components. We'll talk more about the components in the next lessons. The components are down here. Here we have the Navbar, it's on the components, and here we have the footer, it's on the components. We're going to change those because right now they're using Bootstrap, and we moved away from Bootstrap, right? So we also want our Navbar to be using the Angular setup, and we also want the footer to be using Angular material. That's the name of it, okay? But using these lines right here, now we actually have a Navbar and a footer. That's all it takes. But I also want to put in some real weak data here. How do we do that? Well, we have to go in and manipulate our controller. Remember, the controller is the place for us to actually start binding the view and the data together, right? So we have to do one thing. First, we have to pull out the specific syllabus. We can find that specific syllabus by looking at this specific ID right here. That's a specific syllabus that we want to pull out. How do we get that ID? Well, there's something called a state parameter that can actually pull in the ID that's put right here after the slash. And that's the same ID that you guys are seeing right here after the slash. So we're going to pull that into the controller and use that ID, and then we're going to pull out from the Mongo database that single resource in this lesson. And I of course wrote some code because that's the easy way I figured out. So let me show you how the controller looked before and then paste in this code just to let you know what we actually are changing. This is how it looks after you download the code. Nothing in here, very basic. But we want to change this. We want to make it so that the view now, instead of actually showing a stupid hello message, it can actually show the specific syllabus. So what do we need? We need something called StateParams. And when you see this in front of something, it means it's an Angular.js directive. It's something Angular built for you already. And then we need the SyllabusService again. If you forgot this guy, it's the exact same guy we're using up here. So we are reusing the service that we made 2 places now. So already now it makes value to have this resource, right? So that means that we can call this API/ID. And how do we do that? By calling something called syllabusservice.get, and then we pass in the stateparams.id. And guess what? If I put in the specific name ID here, that will actually match the name that I have here, which will actually match the guy I have right here. If that doesn't make sense, try and rewind and listen to what I said again. So let's go back here. The controller pulls out the ID from the state params, meaning the params that I have right here, takes that ID and says, "Dear service, can you get the specific syllabus, not all syllabuses, just this one syllabus from the Mongo database, find it for me, and when you found it, do a callback and give me that syllabus." And then set it on the scope with the name of syllabus. I know this is pretty much a lot of information to grasp, but let's just use it, and then you guys can just try and listen to me once more if you need to. So I'll take the syllabus and I just want to put in a title up here now. So instead of doing a div here, let's just do an h1, which will be the course name. H1, and then let's do a, notice now I'll be using these curly brackets again to say I want to use syllabus dot name, or sorry, title, I think that's the name of it. And then I'll just end the h1 here. There we go. I'll save this, and just to see if we're actually up and running, now it says JS Web Apps up here. Awesome. We'll do more in the next lesson, but now we know that we're pulling out some information from the database. And to prove it to you, let me go to network and let me find the very specific call here, this guy right here. And it actually says get from localhost API syllabuses with this specific ID. And that actually means I'm going down here to my backend and I'm going to hit index, which says route with an ID in the end is going to call the show method in the controller, and that's going to return the specific find by ID, the specific ID. I know this is a lot to comprehend. Hopefully it'll make more sense if we move along. See you next lesson.